Welcome back to the Gospel Sports Truths Podcast. I'm your Jose, along with my guys, Young Vander and King Ron, bringing you the truth unapologetically as we see it. We have a highly entertaining show for you this week. Got a few things that's going to make you say, a little bit of news and notes. Your Super Wildcard Weekend review, divisional round projections. We're also going to go over the rookies of the year and how that's going to affect Dynasty and fantasy going forward. So make sure that you are following us on YouTube at the Gospel STP. And we'll also be on all major podcasting platforms. If you need to get us any information, the email is the same as the YouTube address, thegospelstp@gmail.com. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it. So some things that are going on over the past week, that just kind of head scratchers, kind of make you say, a little bit. Now, this was one for me. Jim Harbaugh is trying to have a clause in his next contract, no matter where he goes, that indicates that he gets immunity from any future NCAA probes. First thought that came to mind, you've already been punished for the sign stealing. So what exactly have you done on top of that this year that you know they're going to find out eventually that you're trying to get protection from? I made a joke last week and said they had one of the best soon-to-be vacated seasons in recent history. Yeah, not so much of a joke at this point. Because if you're asking for immunity, that means you know if somebody's buried. And when they get dug up, you don't want to have no hands on it. So y'all help me figure out, am I making this a stretch? Or if somebody asks for immunity, does that kind of mean that they've committed some sort of a crime? I'm confused on exactly what's going on in this particular situation. Vander, what you got on that, man?
I thought the investigation was over. You know what I'm saying?
That's just it. It's from future investigations. He's already been punished for the sign stealing. So if there was nothing else to be investigated or nothing else to be found out, why would you need immunity?
But that's only if he stays with Michigan, correct?
I'm not sure, because I know that Roger Goodell was saying that he wouldn't harbor anyone that moved from the college ranks over to the NFL. And if there were any type of punishments or anything like that that would have been handed down, he wouldn't kind of use the NFL as a safe haven for that. But the sign stealing, he's already been given his punishment for. So if there wasn't something else to come, it shouldn't even be a talking point. Like, why do you need this in your contract? I'm confused.
I don't know. I always thought it would. When I heard that, I thought it was more geared towards the university. Like, if he does leave, he didn't want to leave them in a bad spot. Like future, restrictions or loss of scholarship.
Oh, no. It's not the university. It's just him. He ain't saying that if I leave or if I stay that the school won't be penalized. He said, I personally would not be held responsible for anything that y'all find out going forward. That's what he wants in his contract. So he ain't thinking about the school at all.
Hey, man, smart. Hey, why not? You know what I'm saying? Because right now he's in the driver's seat. You got the university, him a boatload of money. Then you got some NFL needy teams that's going to become calling and have been calling. So this is what you do. I mean, you throw everything in there just in case something does pop. It's going to be your benefit. So I don't think it's nothing like they really going to go find, because what more really can you find? I mean, the thing that he did.
I wouldn't be asking for immunity if I ain't committed no crimes. That's all I know. I'm going straight to the judge and saying I'm immune from anything that you find, but I know I ain't done nothing.
Don't matter.
I don't know.
I may do something later. You know what I'm saying? It's good.
No. It's not that, though. It's not if I do something later. It's if you find out anything that has been done to this point, you can't hold it against me. You can't ask for immunity from any future cheating or any future crime. That ain't how that go. Which just tells me that you did something else and you expect for them to figure it out or find it out at some point, and you don't want them to be able to touch your money if you do choose to stay. That's how I took. Did you take it differently, Ron?
I kind of look at it both ways. I know you looking at it that way because you got some resentment because you're a Buckeye. And you know you hate
man.
And you know you hate Harbaugh now. So I don't think it's far-fetched that you look at it that way, but how I looked at it too is like because I also read something like, say for example this. I read that the coach from, I want to say from like Oregon or somebody, he has a clause in his contract that, you know, every year my coordinators get a raise, because in the past he's lost coordinators to certain jobs. Like they leave because they get a better, not even a head coaching job. They leave to get other coordinating jobs because they pay better, or it give them more incentive to stay. So I think a lot of times, you know, I got suspended. I felt how this, I know how this felt. I don't like it. Especially if, you know, if you feel like he wasn't 100% culpable in it or whatever, he may be also just covering and say, hey man, I ain't like the way this feel last time, so I don't want it to happen again. Like,
I feel you on that, but the only issue with it is not, he didn't ask for protection from future issues. So, or you would be 100% spot on. He's saying that if y'all find out anything that happened this year, you can't take my money or fire me from it if I choose to stay. Not if I mess up next year that you can't take my money from me. So he's literally saying you about to find something out other than the sign stealing that I've been punished for already. And when you do, don't touch my money and you can't fire me. That's how I'm taking it.
Being that we live in an era where, I mean, Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, that's all these people. People come back from years before with old information affecting you now. So,
but you still did it. That's my point.
Don't matter. If you can't,
don't matter.
I shouldn't be penalized for something I did in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s.
It depends on the statute of limitations. That's not up to you.
Well, that's the thing, though.
But that's still admitting that you did it, is my point.
Don't matter.
Right?
Don't matter.
Matter.
We all did things a long time ago. We don't want to come back to bite us now.
It ain't a long time ago. It ain't even been 2 months yet. It ain't no long time ago.
But we don't know what he's talking about. You only assume.
No, you're right.
But it's something that's recent. It could be something old. It could be something from the Stanford days. You never know if he could have been.
You stretching. You reaching.
No, I'm not reaching, because he could have been stealing signs back then. Just don't know.
But he's already been punished for sign stealing. That's what I'm saying. It would have to, because you can't get punished twice for the same thing. So it would have to be something else.
He could be sleeping.
So he's saying that he did something else.
He could have been sleeping. It could be sleeping with an AD's wife. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You're thinking more of, oh, he doing something, like it could be. You never know what it is. I mean, I think it's smart on his behalf, to be honest with you.
For sure.
All I'm saying is it's something. I don't know what it is, but that wouldn't be my first thought. That wouldn't be my first mind if I've done nothing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I feel it.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I just found out to be one of those things that kind of make you say, you know, that, you know. And there may be a little bit of salt in the game. I am a Buckeye, but you know, when you say you want immunity, I mean, geez, like you did something if you want immunity. Like what person that's never committed a crime just goes to a judge and say, well, I haven't done anything, but I want immunity for everything that I did. Like what? That don't even go together.
It goes for me. Cover all the bases.
Yeah, cover everything. Dot all I's, cross all T.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess. I mean, there's going to be some out there that I hear where I'm coming from, and then some that kind of, you know, let sleeping dogs lie. But
yeah, all the ones that live in Ohio,
you did something.
All the ones living in Ohio, where you coming from?
No. If you want immunity, you did something. That don't.
Last 3 years,
that dog don't hunt.
The last 3 years.
Yeah, well, that could be the case. Now, I am willing to agree to that particular perspective of it. We got, per reports, Bill Belichick is looking for a project. So it's kind of sounding a little bit more like Atlanta may be in the cards. But Jim Harbaugh also interviewed with Atlanta. He interviewed with the Chargers. We were speculating that those might be a couple, well, that the Chargers at least may be a team that he interviews with, but it's official now that he's done that. Does it surprise you at all that Bill Belichick is looking for a project? And is he just kind of saying that so he doesn't have to address the elephant in the room that Atlanta would be in a very much winnable division, that he doesn't really have to do a whole lot to become the most winningest coach in NFL history in the next 2 years? We would think, just based upon the discipline that he can install with the talent that they already have, that he would be a net positive for the team. And they won 9 games this year. He only got to win 15 games to get the destination that he's trying to get to. But did that surprise you at all that he said he wanted a project versus a team that just kind of needed the icing on the cake and not the baking cake. How'd you feel about that, Ron?
I think pretty much he's still like, when you of that caliber, you still want to be respected as that caliber. And I think with a lot of the, Brady was the driving force behind that. He went to go win a ring. Now you kind of fell off. So he'd be like, hey man, I want to show you, like, I can take this team and do good with it. So it's like, put some respect on my name type thing is what I got from it. Because I don't think that's the ideal spot for him. I don't see him in it. Well, according to who they get around, I don't see him in Atlanta, because I don't think Atlanta and Bill Belichick just don't even fit to me. It don't even fit to me.
Don't sound right.
Yeah. So I think
like ketchup on ice cream. Like it don't fit,
Yeah, so that's what I think. That's more of that. Like, hey man, I'm gonna show y'all that y'all gonna put some respect on me. Like, don't give me the cupboard all the way bare, but give me some pieces to work with and let me mold it, and then we'll see what's up.
Did you get the same feeling from that vendor?
No, I agree totally. Culturally, we don't want to see Bill Belichick in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? That discipline he comes with. You think you're gonna have players in Atlanta going by that Patriot way? Absolutely not. That's not gonna work. But I definitely feel the same way. I think that their owner is just big fish hunting right now, big game hunting. He just had an interview supposedly with Harbaugh. So at this point, I think want to make a splash when it comes to the next coach, because I think he's fed up with what has been going on down in Atlanta. So the next coach, he's probably going the next. I'm pretty sure we'll see the next day. So the next interview is going to be Vrabel.
I was thinking that
not Vrabel, but what's my coach from Tennessee?
Yeah, that's Vrabel.
Vrabel, right?
And so, I was thinking that Antonio Pierce might want to go ahead and get that interview knocked out too, just in case the Raiders do decide to go their own way. I could see him being a good fit down in Atlanta as well. Another thing Atlanta was looking at doing is they're looking at trading one of their picks out of this year's draft. Well, I'm gonna say they're looking at. It's speculated right now that they may be looking at giving up a pick for Justin Fields coming from Chicago. We saw some news out there saying that Caleb Williams was indicating that he would be willing to go to Chicago if Chicago was to pick him, which is kind of different than, I don't know if he said it or it was said by his camp or whatever on last week, basically saying that he wanted assurances that Chicago wasn't going to pick. But I guess he's kind of changing his tune a little bit with some of the vitriol that came from that statement that was put out there. But if they can get away with getting Justin Fields for that second or third pick, and then maybe being able to get an offensive lineman or something like that with that first round pick in Atlanta, I think that would definitely help whoever ends up coming there. What you got on that, Ben?
No, I mean, that's pretty much been the play the whole time, right? Everybody was saying, hey, Atlanta, trade your pick, go get Fields, and then go from there. So I'm not surprised by that. And I'm kind of surprised by the whole Caleb Williams count. If this is true, someone coming out saying
if it's true, right?
Because it seemed like a week or so ago he didn't want to go to Chicago, so now he will go to Chicago. So let's see what the real deal is as far as that goes. But of course, going to Atlanta for a pick was always the play. At least for me, if I'm a GM, that's probably going to be the play for me. So
I wouldn't mind him coming to the Patriots either, to be honest with you. If it's going to cost us only a second or a third in comparison to a Mac Jones or a Bailey Zappi, I mean, I would love to have that sort of a setup there, especially with some of the other changes that we're looking at making.
I think it's going to cost more than a second or a third, though.
I think so.
You think it'll cost more?
Yeah.
I think so.
Interesting. Because Atlanta's first round pick is pick 8. You think they'll give up pick 8 for Fields?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because think about it. If Fields was in this draft, where would he go?
Well,
what quarterback would he be? Is it worth the 8th round, the 8th pick?
He'd probably be, in my humble opinion, out of this year's batch, he'd probably be the 3rd quarterback off the board.
Which would be probably pick 8.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
You got Caleb, you got May, and then it'd be him.
Well, actually, on my board, it would be Caleb, Daniels, and then him, and May after him. I don't trust May, but that's a different story for a different day.
I don't even know if Daniels would be a better prospect than Fields coming up.
I think they're 1A, 1B. I think they're the same guy, honestly. So I mean, their skill set is very similar. I'll say that. Daniels from LSU. You on the same page, Ron, or you see it differently?
Well, it sounds like it's like, say for example, if Atlanta said at 8, if Jaden Daniels there, or one of them guys, Michael Penix, anybody that's pretty much like in the same mold of Justin Fields, I don't make the deal with that, just for the simple fact that after this year, you're gonna, if Justin Fields go there to perform, you're gonna have to pay him, because he's like his 3rd year now, so his contract coming up. So if your goal is to draft one of those type quarterbacks, just try to draft, and if you don't have them too far from each other, just draft him, because now you got this guy on a rookie deal for 3 or 4 years, versus to, if Fields go there and really tear it up, now you got to pay him. So now that hinders the building the rest of the team. That's if you have like those Daniels and Fields like close, like you don't think there's too much of a difference between the two. But if you think it's just like, no, this is our guy who can run the franchise for a while, I honestly think that also impacts your head coaching job too. Because if you don't get like Barry, like you mentioned, Greg Roman, like if you don't get him as your OC, now if you get Vrabel, a defensive guy, but then get Greg Roman as your OC, I'm cool with that. But say if you don't get like Greg Roman or nobody like that, nobody offensive minded, which I think that can help fix the quarterback, I think you don't go in that direction. Either make Greg Roman, I don't know if you want to trust him as a head coach, or one of these offensive guys that can be a head coach, but like a Belichick or somebody like that, if they come in, I think you need to hire somebody like that as your OC. But just back to the point, like it does fit to a glove, but if you have Daniels or Penix, any of those guys close in Fields, if you think their talent is the same, I just go with the younger guy, because you get a cheaper contract for 3 or 4 years.
Makes sense. I got two other coaches I want to talk about right quick. I'm gonna start out with a coach that's going to affect your squad, Ron. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like, and this isn't a head coach thing today, but I kind of feel like if y'all can convince Mike Vrabel to come in as your DC and be the coach and wait for Andy Reid's exit, whenever that may be. I don't think Andy Reid's. I don't see him in the same vein as a Pete Carroll or a Bill Belichick, where he just want to do this for life. I can see him maybe doing this for another maybe 3 years, give or take. That'll put him at 65, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in that area, somewhere in that vein. And already having the other guy in the building, and that guy knowing who the guy is going to be at quarterback, and knowing that that's a battle that he won't have to fight, and being able to build up his defense over the next 2 or 3 years, so that he ain't got to worry about the offense. But that will put him in a space to where he can coach for as long as he wants to, and be in a space where he knows for as long as he's wanting to coach, he's going to have a man at the helm that's going to be able to get him where he want to go. So how do you feel about that type of a succession plan kind of being put in place, if that makes sense, with Vrabel being your DC and kind of laying in wait for when Andy Reid does decide to go ahead and take whatever next step he's going to take?
I hate it. I'm
hate it
1,000%.
It don't make sense,
because like we've won 2 Super Bowls. Of course, we like Andy Reid there, right?
Okay.
But we brought Steve Spagnuolo in to change like the defense. So his first year there, he took the defense from almost last. Of course, some players changed from like almost last, because that 2019 team, to where the Patriots beat us in the AFC Championship, we couldn't stop a nosebleed. The very next year, he took those same players and went from 28th or something like that to like 17th, 16th. And then like the next year, even though it was better, and the defense progressively got better. And this year he got them rolling. Like, so unless he if he get poached and somebody takes him as a head coach, which I haven't been hearing. Okay, then I
haven't heard any speculation with that yet.
Yeah, so I love Spags. Let's keep him. And then Spags also has a history of big games, because not to put salt on the wound, but it's the same coordinator that slowed the Patriots down 2 times. The 2 things that he got, he was a defensive coordinator in the Patriots, so he can coach big games, which I like. So, if Andy Reid decides to wake up one day and just leave, I'm gonna just trust that we can find somebody, because we have a generational talent quarterback. So it ain't just as much as, I kind of look at it like this, like Phil Jackson is a great coach, but when you have the luxury of coaching Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Kobe Bryant, and what's the name, it's just you don't have to do everything as much as if you didn't have those players. So that's how I kind of look at it like that.
All right, Barry. Now this one for you. Mike McCarthy is staying in Dallas. Just saw the news come across the wire a little bit ago. How do you feel about this? Are you indifferent about it? Do you think it would be just as good or bad with the current coaches that are available? Do you kind of see where the owner was coming from, Jerry Jones was coming from? Like for me, I feel like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. You say you want to take it to the next level, but yet you want to keep a guy there that can't get you to that level. And look, the more I see Jerry Jones, I mean, the buddy 82 years old, and the man don't look well. He looked like the Cowboys about to take him on up out of here. Like seriously. So do you think that this is a good move, or is this the move that Jerry made so he can still be in charge, which is also a piece of what's keeping them back?
I guess two things could be true here, but I mean, McCarthy isn't the reason why y'all lost this game. I mean, I know that people want to, pounce on them and say, but their offense is pretty good this year with him calling the plays.
I'll play devil's advocate, but I'll let you finish.
I mean, their defense is trash. I mean, they didn't play well against the Packers, right? Dan Quinn, I think
it's hard to stop the run when your GM/owner didn't get you any linebackers at all. Like, they don't have a starting linebacker.
Right, but I mean,
just saying,
that's the way the game goes, right? You pay.
No, it doesn't. Most GMs would have got you a linebacker.
No, but I mean, when you have one thing, there's going to be something missing. There's not really a full complement of a team that got everything at every level. There's very few and far in between. I mean, they bought in Gilmore, right? So they spent money in the secondary. They bought in who else they bought in? Some defensive linemen. They drafted defensive linemen. Just can't get it all. You know what I'm saying?
But no, what I'm saying is the only middle linebacker they had on the roster was Van Der Esch, and he got hurt in like week 4, and you didn't replace him at all.
What middle linebacker is going to bring in?
Anybody, a warm body off the street. But you need somebody on the depth chart.
Give me a name.
I don't know who's available.
They tried to get Shaq Leonard, but missed out on that one.
And that would have been a whiff.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything. Yeah, you're right.
He's a body. I mean, that's better than what you got. I mean, I'm just saying, like, when you know Van Der Esch gets hurt every year and you have nobody behind him, that's on the GM.
Nah, that wouldn't have been nothing. You see what he did. Shaq Leonard hasn't been nothing since his name was Darius Leonard. I mean, the thing is, Dan Quinn went to this game playing man-to-man all year long, and then now he want to run zone. And that's why he got these regular wide receivers torching them up. You know what I'm saying? It just is a bad defensive scheme. They really seen the loss of Trayvon Diggs. It really showed like this is a loss. You know what I'm saying? They had that other shutdown corner on the other side of the field. So I'm okay with McCarthy coming back being the coach. I mean, I know a lot of people want to blame him.
Devil's advocate that I was going to say as far as blaming him is the fact that you can tell the other team knew exactly what they were about to. He didn't change anything from the regular season to the postseason. So the other coach knew exactly what to tell his team to look for. And it looked like the cornerbacks was running the routes for the wide receivers. They knew exactly what was coming. And it showed because they couldn't get anything started. There's a difference between the regular season and the playoffs. And we've seen this every year in the playoffs from McCarthy, where he changes nothing. They know exactly what's coming, and they look like, a deer in headlights when it comes to playoff time.
My thing is this:
I don't know.
Jerry Jones has tried everything. You bring in the big name. They brought in Bill Parcells. What did he do? You bring in the college guy, Barry Switzer. He got a win, and he got a Super Bowl because that's pretty much Jimmy's team. And then what happened after that? And then you bring in another guy that you feel like who was legacy, that a guy you kind of can't control, like a Garrett, and what that do? It's like he didn't try it all already. It's just not there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the one thing that he hasn't tried though, getting the actual GM and let them take care of the team, versus just getting a puppet that you can actually just put him. it was out there that Bill Belichick may have been a candidate, but that would have never worked because Bill gonna do his thing the way he gonna do his thing. Jerry Juice Jerry Juice, Lord have mercy. Jerry Jones like to be in the Kool-Aid too much. He want to stir it. He want to pick the amount of sugar. He want to pick the flavor. He do too much.
But
At
as
some
of
point in
late,
time, you got to sit down.
in defense to Jerry, as of late, they haven't really been making bad decisions as far as GM moves. They actually make some the draft been pretty decent. They got Parsons. You know what I'm saying? They got some decent.
The bad decisions has been the coaches that he's been getting because he just keep hiring puppets. Mike McCarthy is a puppet. He's not going to speak. Garrett is a puppet. You done had a decade of puppets just so you can do your thing. That's all I'm saying.
But at the same time, he didn't throw the pick six.
Yeah, but he picked a coach that don't change the plays in the playoffs, so that way so the other team know exactly what's. Zaire Alexander was running the dang on plays for the wide receivers. It was comical.
Hey, this is an all-pro cornerback we talking about.
It is, but he didn't do that against other teams. They literally knew what was coming.
Zaire is Zaire, man. He gonna do what he do. He been doing that. This ain't nothing new.
He didn't do that in no other game this year. Not like that.
Nah, he been
not like that, bro.
He been banged up most of the year, but Zaire is known for doing this. Like he's a lockdown corner. He's one of the better corners in the league when healthy.
Locked down, yes, but not running the receiver's route for him. He already where the receiver gonna be before the ball even thrown.
It wasn't a good.
He knew exactly what was coming.
It wasn't a good.
Those little screens that they do all the time. You had the linebackers in the backfield already. I mean, they knew what was coming. It was obvious. They knew what was coming.
Hey, look, when it comes to football, I can tell you exactly what play I'm going to run. It's your job to stop it. So it don't matter if you're about to do. You still got to stop it.
I agree with that, but it's a lot easier to stop when I know what's coming too. So I mean, two things can be true, like you like to say. Just saying. We'll get into a little bit more basketball stuff as the season progresses and NFL kind of fades out and NBA comes to the full forefront. But one big thing that happened today, the Raptors and Pacers made a trade, and Pascal Siakam is now a Pacer. And they didn't really have to give up a whole lot to get him. So the Pacers may be in place now to be one of the teams that'll be making some noise in the postseason in the East. Did y'all see this trade that went down today? In the notes, it was saying that they're trying to put it together, but before we had time to record, it had already gone through. So he is now a Pacer. They gave up Brown. I mean, as far as players are concerned, they gave up 3 first-round picks. Well, yeah, I mean, future that'll be what it is. But player-wise, they gave up Brown and they gave up. 1 second here.
No, they gave up Noara.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But I mean, 3 first-round picks is still a pretty good haul for Toronto. I mean, I like the move for Indiana due to it's Indiana. Like, this is a hard place for you to get guys to come in. If they're not drafted, if they're not traded there, then they don't go there. So free agency wise, it's hard to get guys that come there. So I like the move for them to be able to bring in an all-star caliber player to go with Halliburton. So I do like the move for them.
I mean, if you plan on, I got Siakam like a tier 2 guy. So they got Miles Turner, who I think is like another tier 2, high end tier 3 guy, I guess. So I think it helps more if you can attract somebody else there, like another, maybe another one there, because even with the trade, like I got them, like they're currently 6 in the East now, with Siakam. If the Miami Heat is ahead of them, I still like the Heat just because of what the Heat do. They find a way every year. So until they don't do that, I'm gonna go with them. A healthy Cleveland team, I still like them over Indiana. Philly, Milwaukee, and Boston, of course, that's nothing to be said. And New York is right behind them. I still like the Knicks better than them with the Siakam thing. So I think it's a building block if you can expand on it. If you can't get nobody else to come there, you gave up draft capital for no reason, because with the squad they currently have with that, I don't see them beating any of those teams. So
right now, they're starting 5. Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Benedict. I messed this up. Mathurin, Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner. That's their starting five right now.
I think they need one more good piece, and I'm trying to figure out somebody out there who can push them over there. But even with that starting five, unless they get something else,
they could possibly enter into some negotiations with the Warriors, depending on what happens in these next few weeks, because the Warriors may end up being in a spot where they're trying to move on from a couple people based on where they may feel like they aren't going to get this year. The scuttlebutt out there right now is that the Warriors are going to be heavily participating towards the trade deadline. So maybe there's another player or two there that they can get in the fold. But we'll kind of deep dive into basketball as the season goes along. Let's get into this weekend review. So we had Kansas City Chiefs put up 26 points against the Miami Dolphins, who only put up 7. Green Bay Packers put up 48 points against the Dallas Cowboys, who ended up scoring 32. But that score was not really indicative of how that game actually went, honestly. A lot of those were garbage time points. Detroit put up 24 points against the Los Angeles Rams, who put up 23. That was the best matchup of the weekend for my money. Buffalo 31, Pittsburgh 17, Tampa Bay Bucks 32, the Eagles 9. In your humble opinions, what was the most disappointing team of the weekend?
it got to be the Cowboys. To me, it got to be the Packers Cowboys. To me, it has to, because you're the number 2 seed. You got the home playoff game. You're playing the 7th seed, and if they'd have just lost by a field goal or something, it still would have been disappointing. But like you said, when the game was like without the garbage time touchdown, at one point it was 48-16. So I'm like, you actually had like with the Eagles struggling. I said, okay, the only team that can get in the 49ers way, if you catch Dak on one of them days, the Cowboys pressure the quarterback, like it was inevitable that these two would be in the NFC Championship. And for you to get blown out like that, that's the most disappointing game to me by far this weekend.
You feel the same way, Vander?
It wasn't disappointing to me. I loved it. Hey, anytime the Cowboys lose, man, it's a good day in South Carolina. So, nah, I wasn't disappointed at all. But I mean, it was probably the one game that you definitely didn't see coming. This seemed like the easiest road to get to the NFC Championship for the Cowboys this past year, and to fall to a team like Green Bay. And no disrespect to Green Bay, but I'm pretty sure they was heavily, being the underdog going into this game. So
yeah, absolutely. I gotta be honest with y'all. I didn't look at Dallas as being the biggest disappointment, only because Dallas did what they do in the playoffs. I fully expected for them to have a meltdown in the playoffs. If I'm being honest, I didn't think it would come until next week.
right.
But they didn't disappoint me. They surprised me just a little bit that they didn't make it past the first round, but it wasn't a disappointment at all. I felt like it was inevitable.
Right.
Philly disappointed me. And let me tell you why. It's a little bit of, I won't say sour grapes, but I'm going to make a public confession, if you are not even necessarily a confession, but a public apology, because Baker Mayfield is playing good ball. And I've been one of the biggest Baker haters since Cleveland. But I have to say, Baker's been playing good ball. And for you to go out there and beat Philly 32-9, like, granted, Philly hasn't been playing the best ball to wrap up the end of the season, but this is the same team. Well, not the exact same team, but this is the same franchise that went to the Super Bowl just last year. They still have their quarterback. They still have their same coach. They still have a lot of young guns on defense and all that good stuff. They still have a decent run game, all that kind of good stuff. But for you to lose to Tampa Bay 32-9, not that you lost, but you didn't even put up double digits, that was a huge disappointment to me. So as far as I'm concerned from this past weekend, yeah, I was the most surprised by Tampa Bay going out there and handling their business, and I was the most disappointed in Philly not handling theirs. And in all honesty, this is kind of weird, but my thought process was the NFC least is about to only have the coach that had the worst record remain as the coach until we saw the news that McCarthy was coming back. Because I was ready to say fire McCarthy, fire Nick Sirianni. Rivera's already been let go out of Washington. So I thought it was going to be one of those weird scenarios where the only coach that remained was the one that didn't make the playoffs and wasn't fired earlier. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it as far as disappointments was concerned. But let me ask you this about this coming weekend. Green Bay or Houston, which one do you think has the better shot of winning the divisional round? Obviously, we know Green Bay's going up against the 49ers. Barry, you ain't even got to answer this question. We know Houston is going up against Baltimore, but who do we think actually has the puncher's chance, if you will? Go ahead and start us out, Ron. I want to hear your rationale, Vander, but I already know who you're going to pick.
I'm gonna go at Houston.
Okay.
It may sound crazy because people may say, hey, people watch it may say, hey, but the Ravens beat the 49ers pretty handily or whatever. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's a different thing. And like I've been wrong before because I got on this show last week and said I don't trust Baker at all, and he did the complete opposite.
Me too.
So I'm more of a I gotta if it's repetitive, it's something that you do, I gotta see it first, agree to a degree before I believe it. And like I've seen the Ravens and Lamar Jackson have this type of season. Granted, it's a new coordinator, but I've seen them finish number one, him win MVP and they lose their first playoff game. And the Texans are rolling, man. Like me and Barry was talking earlier, like they have like this aura about them that you just may caught them at the wrong time. Like you don't want to see them because they're playing with house money. Nobody expecting them to get here, so they're just gonna let it hang out. So I would have to go with that, being that I've seen the Ravens collapse before. Not like to the extent where I was thinking the Cowboys are going to disappoint us, but I've seen it happen before. And the way the Texans are playing, super high confidence. I'm gonna go with Houston to upset them. Well, not
now,
to
let me
upset them,
switch it up a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say from Houston to upset them, but if I had to pick one, I'm not calling the Houston upset, but just if I had to pick one, I would go with Houston.
Gotcha. So let me switch up the question just a little bit for you, Vander. Is it possible that the 49ers may take Green Bay a little lightly and that Green Bay can sneak up on them a little bit? Although I fully expect for the 49ers to win, can Green Bay make this more of a challenge for the 49ers than most people think it would or should be?
No.
Okay.
Not because it's the Green Bay Packers, but because this is like Shanahan's little brother, right? And we know what Shanahan get when he faces his the guys under the same tree as him. This is one of them. So he's gonna be looking forward to this game more than maybe a game against the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? This game gonna have a little bit more of a feel for him. I mean, he plays against his old guys, the McVays and stuff like that. So nah, I don't see him, them being like a team that's sneaking up, because these two people that know each other. It's like Ryu and Ken, you know what I'm saying? Same moves,
got the
but
same moves, right?
You know and that's pretty much what it boils down to. And as of late, we seem to have Green Bay number, you know what I'm saying?
I think you had Aaron Rodgers' number more so than Green Bay per se.
Maybe so. But this guy has been the coach as well. But
so I'm gonna stay with you, Barry. Let me ask you this: Detroit versus Tampa Bay. Does Tampa Bay keep rolling, or does Detroit have the defense to bring Baker Mayfield back down to his normal level?
This is going to be a really good game. I think I would take Detroit, being that they have the better offensive line and also the better defense. But Tampa Bay defense is nothing to scoff at. So they have really good defense as well.
Yeah, facts.
But they got a puncher's chance in this game. I think I do like Detroit though. This game.
So Ron, Kansas City, Buffalo Bills. I know who your squad is, but let me ask it this way to you. Is it time, fandom aside, is it time for the Bills to finally, even by mistake, possibly get past Kansas City? I mean, a broke clock is right twice a day. Could it be one of those days? Like, is it just time for Allen to finally step up and do something against Kansas City. If not this year, when? Because I don't think this is as down as of a year as Kansas City is going to have, and it ain't really down. So if not this year, I don't look. They may. I don't know if Buffalo is cursed or what, but at least they used to get to the Super Bowl and lose. If they don't beat y'all this year, in Cincinnati and Joe Burrow is back on top of their game next year if he's not injured, and the Ravens continue to go down the path they're going down, and Houston ain't going nowhere no time soon, and then there's Cleveland, and then there's Miami. Like, if they don't do it this year, they may fade to the background because they now have to start paying Allen the bigger pieces of his contract, so he's going to have less talent on the team than he's had over the years where he couldn't get past y'all. So how do you feel about it in that light?
Would I be like super shocked if they win the game? No. Do I think they're gonna win the game? I don't think so. I think their time was to beat us was when they had 13 seconds left and they let us come back and win the game. Like that was the time. Like if it ain't that time, I don't know when it is. Like, you know, like you let us go score in 2 plays in 13 seconds. I just feel like Josh Allen has been playing well, you know, making certain superhuman plays. But if I felt like that game last week against the Steelers, that the Green Bay Cowboys game, that's what that game should have looked like. Because that game was 24-17 in the third quarter, where Pickens fumbled on the first play. Pickens fumbled. He threw an interception on like the 3 or 4 yard line, and it's still a 1 possession game in the third quarter before, you know, they took it. I felt like they should have trashed him. I don't think it is the time now. They did beat us earlier in the regular season. We're playing a little different, but Isaiah Pacheco didn't play in that first game.
Right.
Drew Tranquil didn't play in that first game, and Willie Gay left in the first quarter in that game. And they still only won by 3 because Tony couldn't line up off
right. Yeah, that was that game.
You know, so like I said, will I be overly surprised if they win the game? No, I wouldn't. But I don't think they will. I think their chance was when they was up 13 seconds. I think that was your best chance to get it there.
Let's round out the show with a little bit of fantasy predictions. And well, actually, we're going to talk about the Rookie of the Year first and then parlay that over to fantasy. So the candidates for Rookie of the Year: C.J. Stroud, Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta, Devon Achane, Jamar Gibbs, Beijing Robinson. So I'm going to go to both of you. I want to know who your Rookie of the Year is, but then I also want to know, out of the group, who do you go out of your way to get in fantasy if it's not the guy that you picked for Rookie of the Year? Vander, let's go ahead and start out with you.
C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
He's had pretty much the best rookie year I've ever seen as far as a quarterback. Me personally, I know me and Ron was talking about it. I think he said he liked Herbert's year, Justin Herbert's, but I thought Herbert had better weapons than
definitely.
Stroud. I mean, Stroud pretty much created guys. Nobody knew who Nico Collins was before this year. This guy has now looked like a wide receiver 1. You know,
right? Yeah.
We see the emergence of, we have the rookie Tank Dell, who's going to be a guy that people are going to have on their boards next year. So only 5 interceptions this year, 5 or 6. Very efficient. He's just been so much poise, played a lot of poise. So he's my Rookie of the Year. As far as guys you want to go get,
as far as Dynasty is concerned, yes, sir.
Dynasty concerned depends on
the guy that you would go out of your way to get out of these guys if it's not your Rookie of the Year.
It depends on how your team is constructed, but I'll give you Bijan Robinson will probably be 1 due to the owner is probably down on him due to the year that he just had. I probably want to make a move on this guy before the coach is announced, because if the right coach get announced, then that guy's not giving them up. You know what I'm saying?
News is currency, like you always say.
Right. So I would go ahead and go after a guy like that before one of these Shanahan style West Coast offense coaches come in there, and then this dude's going to be going to the moon. So he'll be a guy I would go for. And then the other guy would be a guy that's probably you're not going to be able to get, will probably be Sam Laporta, who probably is going to be tight end 1 overall going into next year, and definitely tight end overall number 1 in all Dynasty formats.
Ron, how you feel? You got CJ
Um,
Stroud, Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta, Devon Achane, Jamar Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson.
for Dynasty, I'm gonna definitely always go with the quarterback.
Okay.
Because of, it's not, I won't say always, but in this situation, because he's young. And this is the only quarterback now, like in Dynasty, if it came up to be like, hey, if I have CJ Stroud on my team and you want to trade the #1 overall pick for me, which I know is Caleb Williams, I really would have to think about it. Like, I already know what CJ Stroud is. Of course, Caleb is a generational talent. So I don't know if I'll just do that deal versus to any other, like something like if it's Justin Herbert or something like that. Oh, you gonna give me Caleb? All right, I might do that. You know what I'm saying? But with CJ, I'm still gonna think about it. And if your score, the guy who I'm going out a way to get, if the Dynasty is PPR, I'm going to get Nacua. I'm going to get Puka Nacua if the scoring is PPR. I'm definitely going to get him. Because like he's a PPR monster. He's gonna catch a lot of balls, long as he in that system. Only with a caveat. Only long as McVay is there in that system, that would make me do it. But that may also turn away from me a little bit, because if McVay leaves in 2 or 3 years, is he a system guy? You don't know. So
real quick,
currently constructed, I'll do that.
Real quick, I don't want to cut you, but would that matter if Matthew Stafford is the quarterback as well?
Yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah, that's a big one too.
I would say my rookie of the year is going to be CJ Stroud, just because of for me there was an expectation as a Buckeye for him to come out and perform, and I knew what I saw when he was in Ohio State, but I didn't expect for him to take a team like the Houston Texans and turn them around this quickly. Like I figured it would at least take a year or two for him to be able to turn them around. And as far as my dynasty rookie that I would attempt to move heaven and earth to go get, I'm gonna have to agree with Vander on this one and say Sam Laporta. But the reason for it is this: it's difficult to find a dependable tight end. I can find a wide receiver. I can even find a quarterback. I can find running backs are a dime a dozen. Just draft somebody and keep your fingers crossed. But for a rookie to come in and be the #1 tight end in their rookie year, and normally rookie tight ends don't really reach their full potential until like year 3. This dude could be, I won't say he will be, but he could be Gronk from day 1 and throughout. And if I can get that in that tight end position, there's a few guys I can trade for that I already have at quarterback or that already have a wide receiver or running back that I just can't go get at tight end. I don't care if it's Andrews. I don't care if it's Kittle. I don't care if it's Kelsey. Those guys didn't do what Laporta did. This dude don't even know what he don't know yet. So for me, and don't mess around in Detroit end up losing a pass catching weapon, and they really have to use him as a wide receiver. I mean, he's one of 2 or 3 weapons, and they still passing the ball to Gibbs out the backfield right now. Don't mess around, and he actually becomes the focal point of the offense. And I also know that Detroit style of offense, they focus on the tight end. When Hockenson was there, he was the #1 tight end the year before. So I know the system that he's in is predicated upon a pass catching tight end. So that's who I would go after as far as dynasty is concerned. But that pretty much. Yeah, go ahead.
Question for both of y'all, since y'all pick Laporta. So do y'all envision Laporta of having like those Kelsey years prior, like 3 or 4 years ago, like I'll take Kelsey in like the certain round or something, like over a wide receiver? Do you put him in that type mode too also?
No.
I do. No. I do. And I'm going to tell you why. If you're #1 now, I don't see it getting worse next year. So you're already putting up, if you look at where matter of fact, I don't want to speculate on this. I'm going to look it up real.
But while you're looking it up, I'm going to tell you why I know.
Okay, go ahead.
#1 tight end don't mean #4 wide receiver. That's what Kelsey been doing. So #5 wide receiver, like that's a difference. So yeah, this dude probably gonna be the #1 tight end. That's cool. But your normal #1 tight end numbers are not top 5 wide receiver numbers. And that's what Kelsey been doing all through those years. So nah, it ain't gonna be that. He could very well be the #1 tight end, but he's not gonna be doing what Kelsey been doing. Absolutely not. No, that's a little bit.
You sure?
Hell yeah.
He's a rookie and he's the #1 tight end.
Don't matter.
So what makes you think he won't get to Kelsey's numbers?
Don't
That's
matter.
all I'm asking.
Because no other tight end has ever done it. That's why.
But he was tight end 1 in his rookie year. Kelsey didn't even do that.
How long football been around? 100 years? Nobody else ain't never did it.
It's been around longer than Kelsey, and he did it.
He the only one. If you look at the numbers,
if anybody else can do it, it's gonna be Laporta.
No, because I didn't
Tell
see.
me how not.
I didn't witness some of the greatest of the greatest tight ends that came through, and they wouldn't do it.
But it's the system, though. That's
cool.
like,
I've seen systems built around tight ends. Antonio Gates, the system was built around him. You know what I'm saying? Like we seen Gronk, Aaron Hernandez. We seen systems built around tight ends.
Gronk was the top 10 fantasy player, regardless of position.
He was a top 5 wide receiver. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. See, you could be
okay.
So the best at this is not going to be equal to this. So that's why, like, what Kelsey was doing was unheard of. Like he's putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, not tight end 1 numbers, wide receiver 1 numbers. So I agree that Laporta can be the #1 tight end. But his question was, do we see him doing what Kelsey been doing? Hell no.
No. So I understood the question to be is would I pick him where I would normally take a #1 wide receiver in a draft? Not do I think he's going to put up the exact same numbers that Kelsey did. And the only reason I'm saying that is this. The same thing that I said before of why he would be the guy that I would get in Dynasty. It's what is his numbers over the next person or the next few people in his same position. I can go get a wide receiver. Hell, Puka Nacua, you could have drafted him in what, round 10 this year? I can go get a wide receiver that's going to put up wide receiver numbers. If I play that game with tight ends, I'm going to be hurting at that position. So that's the only reason I would be willing to pick him where I would pick a #1 wide receiver because of value over replacement. There are tons of wide receivers out there that have value that's close to their that the #1 and the #2, they're kind of close as far as the value over replacement. I see him being far and above his other options that'll be in that same tight end category. So if that would be a set it and forget it position as long as he don't get hurt, that is obviously.
No. Kelsey was going in round 2. Like since he been existing. No, you don't spend your draft capital on no damn Laporta in round 2. Don't do it. That you're reaching out there a little bit. You put a little bit too much dip on your chip. You talking about Puka Nacua is a revelation. This dude has broke every rookie record for a wide receiver. So for you to say
it's plenty wide receivers that you could have gotten the 5th, 6th round. That's wide receiver 1. That's all I'm saying. You're not getting no tight end 1.
Let me rewind.
In the 5th, 6th, 7th round without it being a dart throw, and you just happen to get it.
That ain't true. Because what you think? What round most people draft Laporta in this past draft, sir? That's not.
But like you said,
that was late as well
to us knowing who he was. So again, look at the last thing that I said: dart throw. That was a dart throw.
You happened
to look up if you did it.
Hold on. You just said that was prior to we knowing what he was going to be. The same thing for Nacua. That was prior. Don't tell me.
But you're more likely to get it right with the wide receiver than you are a tight end. Like you just said, Kelsey is a unicorn. There ain't too many people like that. So for us to actually have a tight end that outperform every other tight end, in my opinion, could be possibly another unicorn. That's how I'm looking at it. The dude is we've never seen, not even Kelsey did this in his rookie year. What rookie tight end came out and was tight end 1 in his rookie season? That's all I'm saying.
I know.
Probably Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham. Boy.
But Jimmy Graham had a crazy rookie season.
Yeah. And how many moons ago was that? That was what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, but
it don't come around often. That's all I'm saying.
No, but tight ends are they're more here. Wide receivers is a way bigger gap. So I'm not going to spend no capital on that.
There's not a bigger gap. The wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 10 don't have nearly as big of a gap as the tight end 1 and the tight end 10. It's not even close.
You said wide receiver. dude, wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 10 are still wide receiver 1s. What are you talking about?
So tight end 1 and tight end 10 is still tight end 1.
Hell nah.
How
Hell,
you figure?
it's not.
How not?
I think a wide receiver 10 probably still have a propensity to have the better numbers than the tight end 1.
Hell yeah.
No. You're missing it. What I'm saying is when I say a 1, that's based on league size. The average league size is 10 people. So the first 10 wide receivers are wide receiver 1s. The first 10 running backs, running back 1s. The first 10 quarterbacks, quarterback 1s. So regardless, but that lends itself to my point. The first tight end and the back end tight end are going to be way different. You can get a wide receiver 3 that'll only basically be 2 or 3 touchdowns over an 18-week season from a wide receiver 1 or 2. That's all I'm saying. Value over replacement. That's all I'm saying. Does that concept not make sense? I understand where you're coming from, but what I'm saying is, does the value over replacement argument not make sense as far as this particular unicorn at tight end is concerned?
The tight end, let me tell you why it's a difference. Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 10 are 100 points apart, sir.
Okay. Now look at tight end 1 and tight end
40 points apart, sir.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's different for this year.
Laporta and the number 10 guy is McBride.
Okay.
And he started late too.
And there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You looking at standard or PPR?
This is it's probably standard scoring right here.
Yeah, it gotta be.
Let's go to PPR.
Because touchdowns are everything in standard. So that's a different animal.
And my boy Kelsey did have more yards and played 2 less games.
Okay, even greater. So even if those PPR, it's like 80 points as a tight end, 10 to 1.
Okay.
But from wide receiver, it's like 140.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, the gap is huge. The tight wide receiver 10 was Devontae Adams. He didn't even have a good year this year. To most people's you know what I'm saying, expectation. Don't get like, this dude ain't Kelsey. He's good. Kittle was good. Andrews was good. Jimmy Graham was good. None of them.
I think Andrews still will be good. He just got hurt this year.
Yeah, they good. Hawkinson is good, but none of them are Kelsey. Kelsey would put you might want to go click on Kelsey again. And
Kelsey was top 5 regardless of position for like 4 or 5 years.
So the point I'm making is Laporta's not going to be that.
I don't know about that. I guess that's what I'm disagreeing with more than anything. For him to do this in year 1, how can you cap his ceiling? That's all I'm asking.
I ain't capping the ceiling. I'm just saying
you kind of are.
Again, I've seen guys come. We haven't seen that much because rookie tight ends are usually the harder position to transfer over from college to pro.
Right.
But Kelsey was Jimmy. Like I said, we seen Jimmy Graham have a pretty good rookie season. He's going to be good. I'm saying Laporta could be the tight end 1. That's fine. But what I'm telling people is, don't jump out there and late in your first round or early second round and pick him like you would a Kelsey. Hell no. Wait, I rather wait.
Now, and also there's a distinction between redraft and dynasty. So, but for me, it's difficult to find a reliable weekly tight end, especially in dynasty. And if I can get one that's this young and is already tight end 1, I mean, we have studs at wide receiver come out every year. We don't have this come out every year. I'm sorry, we just don't.
Who's your tight end in the dynasty league we had this year?
Laporta.
Yeah, so
I traded for him. Yeah, I traded for him. Yeah, I put my money where my mouth was. I paid for him. So, but my thing is, it's a set it and forget it position, because most leagues also, you're only going to have that one spot for tight end. And if I can put that guy there, Kelsey, look, close your ears, Ryan. Kelsey gone in a minimum of 2 years, a maximum of 2 years, I believe. He's 34 years old. Like, I mean, like he ain't got but so much time left. So if I can get, even if it's Kelsey light, if I can get that guy for the next 10 years in my dynasty, I can get a wide receiver next year. I guarantee you I can. This guy ain't coming back around no time soon, humble opinion. Georgia got a guy coming out in Bowers that he's a bigger guy, he can catch the ball, but he ain't gonna be him.
How do you know that?
We thought Pitts was gonna be him.
But how do you know that? Because Laporta wasn't even the best tight end come out of college last year.
But it's because you have to have the skill set, and it has to match up with the right coach, match up with the right team, match up with the right quarterback. Like the odds of all things coming together, like I think that Pitts is more talented, but the odds of all things coming together, it just don't normally happen. Wide receivers, you don't have to have so many things come together for that position to perform. If you're a stud wide receiver, 9 times out of 10, it'll be seen, right? You got a Jefferson, a Chase, a Adams, you got one of them guys, minimum 1 or 2, possibly even 3 of those guys coming out every year. We got to go back all the way to Jimmy Graham to come up with somebody with a better rookie year. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, as far
it's
as
rare,
rookie
very
year,
rare.
yeah, but no, because even Jimmy Graham not Kelsey.
Say again.
Even Jimmy Graham not Kelsey.
So we talking about 3 guys over the course of 20 years. How many wide receivers?
No. We're not talking about. We're talking about. His question was in comparison to Kelsey.
Right, and what I'm saying is in Dynasty, I give me the unicorn. I can get a wide receiver, I promise you. Hell, I got Mike Evans this year for next to nothing. But he was the number 7 overall wide receiver. It cost me nothing.
Because
I'm not about to get a tight end like that.
Because people are stupid. If you was listening to the show, when you listen to the show, who was banging in Mike Evans? Who was saying that? I was saying, yo, this is the steal of the draft.
But who can you go get? The Sam Laporta owner ain't budging unless you try to move heaven and earth. The Mike Evans owner wanted to give him up. That's all I'm saying.
Again, Laporta, he's cool. I like him. But what people drafted him at, it was low. He wasn't a number 1 tight end come out.
He was the number 1 tight end when I traded for him. I'm not talking about I'm saying, remember, the premise was who would you move heaven and earth to go get in Dynasty? The draft is over. You can't go back to that.
We ain't talking about that. He's talking about would you, in comparison to Kelsey's, them years Kelsey had, would you put him in that realm? Hell no.
I'm not saying he's Kelsey, but what I'm saying is he may be the closest thing to him going forward. Kelsey ain't Kelsey no more.
Why not?
And then it took him years to get to be Kelsey. Kelsey wasn't even always Kelsey. Kelsey wasn't the number 1 wide receiver in his first year. Wasn't even close to it. So that's all I'm saying. But we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. But I do see your point, though.
Yeah, he didn't have a bad rookie. He didn't have a bad rookie year.
Nah, he didn't. But he wasn't the number 1 tight end his rookie year. That's a unicorn. That's all I'm saying. That's a unicorn situation.
No. Kelsey is a unicorn. Being the number 1 tight end is not a unicorn.
Being the number 1 tight end in your rookie year is not abnormal, is what you're saying. That happens all the time, is what you're telling me. Just so we're on the same page.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Don't be late in the first round and you get in the queue and you go pick Sam Laporta. Your ass gonna be at the back of the bus. I promise you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because especially, who knows, they OC getting a lot of job interviews now. He may be gone, but then what? So then what you gonna tell the people?
Their OC wasn't their OC when Hockenson was a top 3 tight end when he was there.
What you mean?
They didn't have the same OC when Hockenson was the number 1 tight end. Well, last year they did, but not when Hockenson was the top tight end before that.
Hockenson just
Ben Johnson ain't. Hockenson is in Minnesota now. He was in Detroit for a minute.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like that's just what Detroit does. That's what golf does. So, it is what it is for now, though.
Don't tell people that. That's not what golf does. Look, his tight end in LA has never been number 1 tight end. Higby never been number 1 tight end.
His tight end in LA ain't Laporta. He still used the tight end.
You said that's what golf does. That's not what golf does.
He utilizes the tight end quite. He used Higbee a lot. Higbee just wasn't good enough. Matter of fact, isn't that where Everett was before he went to the Chargers? If I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you're right. He didn't use Higbee a lot, but he used Everett a lot before.
Everett wasn't nothing either.
Everett stayed hurt, but when he was in the game, he used them a lot. All I'm saying is he targets the tight end. That's all I'm saying. His tight end is his number 2 target outside of St. Brown in most games.
Long story
and he got short, other receivers.
Long story short, don't do it, man.
Leave it alone.
Hey, different strokes for different folks. All I can tell you is this. I can find a receiver. You're not going to find a Sam Laporta in every draft, and ain't nobody going to be willing to trade you a Sam Laporta. You can trade for a wide receiver. Matter of fact, you can go take one of your first-round picks right now and go trade for a wide receiver 1. I promise you. I promise you that. Sam Laporta, you not about to get for a first-round pick because there ain't no tight end that they can go then and turn that first-round pick back into Sam Laporta. I have confidence that I can turn the first-round pick that I get for a number 1 receiver into another number 1 receiver. That's all I'm saying. Receivers are not unicorns. It's receivers coming out right now this year. Hell, Harrison coming out right now this year that we think going to be a number 1 receiver. Am I right or am I right? But who going to be Sam Laporta?
See,
Dynasty now. Dynasty.
But it's not making sense. Like you saying Harrison, yeah, we see him as being number 1 wide receiver coming out. But nobody was saying.
But it's one every year is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but nobody was saying about Laporta. We deep dive on this show and talking about these guys, you know what I'm saying? But Laporta was drafted late.
Right. No, you missing my point. I'm not, obviously you can't go back and do an initial draft with him now. What I'm saying is every single draft, there's a minimum of 2 to 3 wide receivers that we feel are going to be a number 1. We don't see a Sam Laporta, regardless of name, you don't see 2 or 3 of those in every draft. You might look up and find one possibly, but you don't see 2 or 3 of those in every draft. We thought McBride was going to be a stud. It's taken him 3 years to just get the ball passed to him. Like it don't happen like that for tight ends. That's all I'm saying. And for me, in Dynasty, let me shore up the positions that don't come by, but ever so often. I can go get a Devontae Adams. I can go get a Mike Evans. I can go get these other receivers that won't cost me nearly as much because people have a certain attitude towards elder statesmen in Dynasty. When those guys still got 2 or 3 good years, I'll take that guy and then draft another wide receiver next year. I don't know when the next Sam Laporta is coming around. That's all I'm saying.
Long story. Yeah, just real quick. Let's long story short. In a redraft league, what round do you take?
No, that's different. Dynasty is what I'm talking about.
Okay, what round you take this dude in? That's all I want to hear.
In redraft?
Yeah.
I would say, it depends. In our league, where it's a 2 quarterback league, he gonna get pushed a little bit because you got to get your quarterbacks early. But if we're just talking about like a regular, like a regular 1 quarterback league, I'd probably pick him up if I'm at the back end, 3rd round, 3rd, 4th round. If I'm at that turn, I'm gonna get him. He's gonna be my Kelce, 3rd or 4th play off the board.
Okay, so do Kelce go that late?
In his rookie year, in his sophomore year, absolutely he did.
We ain't talking.
We can't compare somebody in the. Again, we talk about 2 different league types. I agree with you in redraft.
I'm talking about in redraft.
I know. I agree with you in redraft, but I was talking about Dynasty, and I said that several times.
That's not what go based on the question he asked, though. So I don't know what you've been hearing.
He didn't say redraft the Dynasty.
I said, do we see him being drafted like how Kelce last 3 seasons, how them 3 seasons, how that run Kelce went on? Do we see him in the realm?
But he didn't say redraft the Dynasty. So when I made my statement, I prefaced it by saying in Dynasty. Did I not?
It still wouldn't matter if it was that.
What the hell? It wouldn't.
It wouldn't, because Kelce was a late 1st round pick in dynasties and redrafts. Okay. Both.
Okay.
Was he not?
Not as early as Laporta is. How you keep missing that piece?
What the fuck?
Quick scenario. I know we took a lot of time with this, but quick scenario, right? Say if you draft him now, how you give up something, right? So would you rather have, say, like in a dynasty, like a Rasheed Rice type guy, or one of those second, what I don't want to call him second tier, but one of a second tier wide receiver and Sam Laporta, or somebody say, I'll give you the opportunity. You can get Blake Bowers and wide receiver one, or Jefferson or Chase or whatever. Which scenario you take?
Give me Laporta and Rice. Absolutely right. Rice is about to be Patty's number. Well, he already is the number one wide receiver. I think come next year, he's gonna be the number one pass catcher. So if I got a number one tight end who could be the number one, and then I have a number one wide receiver that's probably gonna be somewhere, maybe he's on the back end, but I got two number ones versus hoping that Bowers turns out. Give me them two guys all day.
I don't think Rasheed gonna be the number one guy next year though. He gonna.
Who you think gonna be number one?
I think we're gonna bring somebody in. We've seen what our wide receivers look like. I think somebody coming in next year.
So that's yet to be seen. But as of today, when you're asking the question, now if you bring in, let's say you bring in Mike Evans because they didn't re him up, maybe that changes things just a little bit. Yeah, but that still goes to my point that I can get a guy that's going to be a number one wide receiver for next to nothing because people still going to be willing to trade Mike Evans because of how old he is. So I'm just saying, no matter how you slice it, give me Laporta and a guy that could be a number one wide receiver versus a Jefferson and a guy that I got to hope can do it at tight end. Because when you put those 2 points together, I'm going to come out better on my end, dynasty long term. And then what happens if Jefferson get hurt like he did this year, right? I got two guys versus having one. But you give me the two versus the one any day of the week.
You know the luxury of that though, because like you said, tight end ain't as deep as it's a fall off like the unicorn, right? Mm-hmm. So what if Laporta get hurt? You in a worse situation now.
I'm still have a backup. I'm gonna still have a backup. I mean, it's dynasty. If you in a dynasty with a short bench, they doing it wrong. So I didn't say Laporta was gonna be my only tight end. I mean, I still got in our dynasty league right now. Let me see here. I got Sam Laporta.
Give me Jamar Chase and Kincaid over Rice and Laporta any motherfucking day. I'm sorry.
That's one thing. Like Kincaid, if Dawson Knox get out the way, then Kincaid might be the number one tight end though. I ain't gonna lie.
Any day. Give me them.
If Dawson Knox get out the way, is it an argument Kincaid may be the number one tight end next year? If Dawson Knox get out the way, if they get rid of him.
That's cool, but Kincaid ain't gonna be the number 10 tight end in a dynasty. Like if when you ask me about Bowers and Kincaid, I can't put in the same breath, in my humble opinion. You asked me about a specific guy. But now if we just picking guys out the air, then yeah, it's a couple of guys that I would rather have.
I'm picking guys where you probably gonna see them drafted at. So wherever you see Rice at, then you could probably get a Kincaid style guy versus where you're gonna see
Kincaid gonna go way further back than Rice. We done seen too much from Rice.
I'm just giving an example of a tight end you can get around that. Give me even better. So give me that person. I'd rather have a Kincaid and a Chase than a Laporta and a Rice. That don't make sense to me.
I humbly disagree. But that pretty much wraps it up for this week. And in our own humble ways, we're gonna always tell you the truth. We'll holler at you next week.
All right. Go Chiefs.